these two teams leave here later on this afternoon with the Nedbank Cup trophy in tow. Pirates get us underway. Here's Mofokeng. Hotto will be playing left back today. That's given away. First opportunity for Chiefs to put something together. Sereno turns possession over. Here's Makopa. Now in Kota. These youngsters will be key, of course, today to Orlando Pirates' cause. What a great season for Mofokeng, and what a revelation Kota has been.
Indeed, Kota just slotting right there on the right-hand side, playing in inverted. And what helps him as well is that he has the speed and he has an eye for goal, and also he likes getting into those goal-scoring positions. So he is a player that whenever Pirates are going forward, he will be very important.
There's Sabisi. Set out the derby, of course, plus the game against Arrows on Tuesday. It's somewhat fortuitous that was slotted into the schedule, but Pirates didn't have any other dates in which to play the catch-up matches. Still got 5 to go in the league. In fact, they'll be finishing the league season after everybody else, because they've got to play against Magesi on the 28th of May. The league formally closing on the 24th, when everyone plays simultaneously. Mamelodi Sundowns will not be able to participate that day, however, because they've got the first leg of the Champions League final, so they'll actually finish their league campaign before that. Maswanganyi, big part of the final last year, of course. You'll remember a Nelspruit disputed penalty, which saw Pirates fight their way back.
Sure, also in today's game, there will be a lot that is expected from Maswanganyi, especially in that midfield, and also from the fans as well. That little bit of entertainment just to get the fans behind the team, to always, make it very, very difficult for Orlando Pirates. But he needs to play more up front, especially just behind Matt and Kele. That's where he's mostly dangerous, to actually now have that combination and complement Makopa, especially with his runs.
You had a chance to have a look at pitch conditions, a little bit bumpy in places.
It is a little bit bumpy in places, and it's going to need some sort of time for the team, for both teams to actually, climatize to the condition of the pitch.
There's Nkota showing some pace. Miguel taking no chances. Built a reputation for some clumsy errors when he first arrived at Chiefs, and with so much at stake today, he's not going to be chancing anything. Royan, of course, is a late arrival at Pirates, so didn't have an opportunity to play in the MTN8 success earlier in the season. He gets a first cup final appearance for the Buccaneers here today. Mordi on the left, of course, is another player who could well be key. Now, a bit of pressure on Hotto from Solomons. Clearance is from Quinica. Hotto wants a return ball here from Mofokeng, who sizes up and Kota rather. Out comes Peterson. That's a good confidence building catch.
It is indeed. Early on into the game, that's what you need, especially from a goalkeeper that hasn't been in action for such a long time. There's a lot of pressure that he has on himself, but they need to be defensively solid. They need to be very organized for them not to concede a little bit early.
Last game for Peterson against Polokwane City in December. It's an extraordinary return in a game of this magnitude. Huber's back as well from suspension. Taylor playing in his first final in South Africa. This is good stuff from Chiefs early on, onto the edge of the Pirates area, and that's given away to Hotto. Nice first touch as well. He clears it up. Organisation around this final as well. The city's been in lockdown since early this morning, but they've got the crowd in here at the appointed time. We do anticipate normally before such big matches that we'll usually have a delay to the kickoff. That's not been the case here today. Chain yet to get his hands on the ball.
What's interesting as well is this man on the picture, Solomons. When Kaizer Chiefs are in position of the ball, he pushes higher up. Then it pushes Lilepo or Modi inside, now become two strikers, so they're defending with 3 in possession of the ball, which is very, very brave from Coach Now. We can tell that the intention is to get going as soon as the game starts, to get into that early lead, and also to maybe to also press a little bit higher, not to allow Orlando Pirates to get that momentum.
Yeah, Solomon's given a vote of confidence last week, and it worked out well, particularly with that opening goal. He'd been taken off a couple of times by Nabi in frustration in the matches before that, but keeping his position on the right-hand side. Remember, they've had a bit of a defensive injury crisis, Kaizer Chiefs, over the last couple of months. No Reeve Frosler today. He'd usually be one of the contenders for the right-back position. No Rushwin Dortley. He won't play again this season. Also missing out Cross on the left with his suspension. Now Kota. From Kimberley, of course, in the Northern Cape, where the very famous Jimmy Tao comes from. Heard of him?
And surprise Roland. Defender and a very, very skillful attack.
Oh, he can build a good team out of Kimberley. We put Tato Mokeke in the midfield. He could fill about 6 positions on his own. So Van Rooyen has the throw-in. Scrappy in his early stages, but flags up here.
I think a game of this magnitude is expected, and you're expecting Orlando Pirates to be the one that's more control of the game, more control of the tempo, but Kaizer Chiefs are making it difficult for them to be that. And that's what you need from a Kaizer Chiefs point of view. You want to unsettle Orlando Pirates not to get that momentum.
Looking to become the 4th Chiefs coach in this PSL era to win the Nedbank Cup at first attempt. Wish and Etterdahl did it in 2000, Ernst Mittendorp in 06, Stuart Baxter in 2013. It would be some redemption for what is overall another disappointing campaign, with Chiefs still not sure of a place in the top 8 next season. That'll be determined over the next couple of Saturdays. Next week, of course, everybody playing at the same time, and again on Saturday the 24th of May. Now Duba sets up a good opportunity. Is that a penalty? Referee says yes. Kaizer Chiefs have a chance for another early start. Big call from referee Bambiso. It took them 4 minutes to take the lead last Saturday, and they've got an excellent opportunity now to go ahead again in the early stages.
How productive is Modi? On the left-hand side, good combination there with Duba. Takes a chance, get inside the box. You always urge the attacking players. Once you're inside the box, you are the boss. And you can see here with Van Rooyen, with the touch at the back. Referee as well, in a good position to be able to see that there's an opportunity for Kaizer Chiefs again to go ahead early on into the game.
Van Rooyen does not agree with the decision. Neither did the rest of the Pirates defense, but referee's word is final, and the responsibility is handed to Gaston Serino. Shabalala can't bear to watch, and that's the case for many of the others, I think. But what an opportunity here. So Serino up against Siko Chain, who, as we mentioned, is yet to touch the ball here. Is his first touch going to be taking it out of the back of the net, or is it going to be a big save? And the gamesmanship is already on, making Serino wait.
Mind games there, Chain, but also what helps him as well is you're giving a goalkeeper coach a chance to be able to check where Serino normally kicks those balls, so for you to get that type of information, because you're expecting Miguel, who's normally their regular penalty taker.
Miguel can't bear to look either. He's facing the other way. So is Dylan Solomons. Gaston Serino now up against Siko Chain. Kaizer Chiefs with the chance to take the lead inside the opening 10 minutes. Here comes Serino, tucks it away. Chiefs are in the lead. Keeper went the right way, but it was expertly struck by the Uruguayan.
Yeah, a player that we spoke about it earlier, that there'll be so much expectations from him, being a player that played among the Sundowns in a cup final like this. There's a lot that's going to be expected from him, to be brave, to be confident, to step up and put it in. That says a lot about his mentality, says a lot as well about his character. That's the confidence that Kaizer Chiefs need.
Well, Orlando Pirates certainly not happy about the decision. Kaizer Chiefs fans are in ecstasy here. Now, did he catch it there? Tripped him on the heel, and then Mordi in a way almost tripped himself. Look at how Serino struck this with the right foot into the corner. Just a little late with that outstretched arm chain.
Once you give it a little bit of power behind it, you always, increasing your chances of scoring, because even if the goalkeeper knows where you're taking it, you just need a little bit of power. And that's exactly what Serino did. And lucky him, because we spoke about how bumpy the pitch is, still was able as well to not to put the ball on the ground.
Chiefs 1, Pirates 0. And a long way to go here in the Nedbank Cup final. We've not had a draw in the derby, by the way, since 2019. 14 matches in which both sides have claimed 7 wins. The last time they drew was in a Telkom knockout clash. It ended 2-2. Chiefs went on to win that one on penalties. There's Miguel Taylor. Mordi created the opportunity for that spot kick, and he'll be looking to continue tormenting down that left-hand side.
Now you can see also with the overload from Kaizer Chiefs on this right-hand side, they actually freeze Mordi to be able to be free to whenever he has the ball. And you can see also when the leopard drifts away from the striking position as well, drifting away to the left of Kaizer Chiefs, it forces Sibisi now to step up. So that's when now you need Serino to be able to add on with Duba there to become a second player or the third player in the box.
Nilsson only made his return from injury at the turn of the year, played his first game on the 3rd of January. But his aggression has really come to the fore. Strong, hard player. Won a cup final here at this very stadium with Cape Town City in the MTN 8. Given away to Mofokeng. Now Hotto with all that pace down the left-hand side. Just hesitated for a moment, gets the foul from Duba.
See here, didn't have enough support. I think it's the landing that is the problem. You can see there with his head, I think that's the head that he bumped into the ground. With Duba chasing back, making sure that he helped the team defensively.
Also got a good thumping on the thigh as well. Just back from an accumulation of yellow cards, Duba. Not booked for that one, but certainly given a stern warning by today's referee. There's the initial contact, and then almost forces Mordi to trip himself.
And you can see the intention as well from Van Rooyen, who's trying to move away. It's just that it's one of those unfortunate ones, but there is a contact nonetheless inside the box.
Well, he's had cup success with the Mamelodi Sundowns as Serino. Now can he do the same in his first season at Chiefs? Peterson turning possession over. Hotto will take this kick for Orlando Pirates. of him in these early stages. We'll see a lot of him by the time this game's over. Solomons keeps that in play, turns it over to Hotto, gets past the challenge. Solomons biting back at his heels. Kaizer, they've got the usual back four today without adding an extra centre back as they've done on a few occasions lately. Tapelo Krok is the player who misses out. He'll be on the bench today. Now Mofo King almost taking that away from Solomons. He gets the free kick. Initial touch got him into a bit of trouble there, and this is going to be the first set-piece opportunity of the game for the Buccaneers. Mahopa, obviously the key man in the air. They're moving the likes of Sabisi Bukazi forward as well. The first test for Brandon Peterson. Early retort here from the Buccaneers, having conceded that penalty in the 10th minute to Sereno. Otto with the left foot, or Mofo King potentially with the right. Otto with the left, curls it. Back post, what a goal! Textbook stuff. Oh, the big man comes up trumps again. Oh, he likes scoring derby goals, does Evidence Mahopa. Simply done. Out jumping the defense and putting Pirates right back in the game.
Indeed, and if you have to look back, you can one can say it is a set piece that Kaizer Chiefs could have avoided. But then with the first set piece, Orlando Pirates taking advantage with those men starting in an offside position, causing confusion at Kaizer Chiefs backline. And the big man at the back, you can see with the delivery there from Mahoto. So much height on the ball. Mahopa made sure that he stayed onside. Made it very, very difficult for any Peterson or any defender to do anything with it. You can see also it was defended by Lilepo. Such a great, great header there from Mahopa.
So 1-all's the score here. We're not even up to the 20-minute mark in the Nedbank Cup final. If we carry on with this momentum, we could have an absolute thriller. First time these two teams met, Checo, in a cup game, 1970. Remember, those are the days when no one defended. It was Pirates who lost 6-4 to Chiefs, 10 goals. Could we have 10 today, please? Ukota. Clearance from Miguel. Taylor. Now that early momentum lost here by Kaizer Chiefs caught at the set piece in much the same way that Orlando Pirates were caught in their Champions League semi-final in Cairo just a couple of weeks ago.
And especially in cup finals like this, in a game of significance, you always need to be concentrated with a set piece, no matter what it is. And I think with Kaizer Chiefs, just after scoring, conceding that set piece, they could have defended it better.
Oh, Shotya! On the full volley from Maswangangi after the setup from Mofo King.
And that's the person, those are the players of a lot of Pirates that you don't want them to get into the game. You don't want them to get a little bit of rhythm, because once they do, they get the fence behind them, they get the team, they rally the team up, and once they are on song, they become unstoppable.
Given away by Miguel to Nkota. Mofo King. Mahopa is out wide. He'll now want to go into the middle. Nkota looking for the corner, gets it. Last touch coming off Fele. Oh, suddenly that confident mood seems to be disappeared from the Chiefs' ranks. Look a little nervous now. And it's another set piece, another high ball to test Peterson, who came a little off his line for that free kick and then just seemed to decide to stay back. Didn't have much chance of that header, though. It was powered in by Makgopa. Curling one in here, dealt with by Mart. Sereno, a little push in the back. Surely he's not going to argue with the ref about that one. Chiefs and Pirates today in a knockout game for the 73rd time. All the way back to that 1970 clash. Chiefs' cup record over Pirates is 30 wins to 22. A lot of those games in the 1970s and 80s when Chiefs definitely did have the upper hand over their rivals. Things have changed a lot of late. And now for Royan, short to Maswanganyi. Everyone inside the Pirates half, safe for the keeper. Kind of been on offside Maswanganyi had he touched that, so
clever there, Maswanganyi letting it go. Now the throw-in is at the corner, so that's when actually now you can apply pressure and force Kaizer Chiefs not to come out of that area, and then you can create moments from winning a second ball or a first ball from Orlando Pirates.
This is when it's handy to have someone with a long throw-in like Edmilson, just try and clear it. Yeah. Pressure on Pele. Solomons. Orlando Pirates just turning the screws a little bit now as we reach the halfway point of this first half. Kaizer, of course, still a teenager in his first cup final. Wasn't even on the radar when they won the MTN 8 earlier this campaign. Makgopa. Maswanganyi, Van Rooyen on the overlap. Quarter. Touch just a little heavy from Makgopa. Goal kick it'll be.
But you can see they're trying to string those passes, trying to get that little bit of confidence, and expecting that from Orlando Pirates, a team that has synergy, players that have played so many games with each other. You can see the calmness even after they conceded that goal. They do have a belief that they can come back, and as Kaizer Chiefs, they need to go back to how they started, putting pressure, play with high energy, and force Orlando Pirates to make those mistakes.
It's certainly a pertinent point you make about number of games this season. This is number 47 for Pirates versus 34 for Chiefs, so a significant extra number, of course, participating in African club competition, which Chiefs did not do this season. Can have the reverse effect, of course, fatigue by the time we get to this stage of the season, but they look pretty fresh out there, the Buccaneers, even though they played on Tuesday. Gave a lot of the senior players a rest.
Also, like when you're a team that has so much synergy, when you come into such games, you know, you come in with so much confidence. You believe that whatever happens, you will find ways out to win the game.
Nicely done by Edmilson. There was a good ball in from Makgopa. There's Mofokeng now. Sabisi. Maswanganyi. I've got to say, Pirates are really now beginning to look the better of the two sides as we approach the 25-minute mark.
Can see that at some point they just, all of them in Kaizer Chiefs' halves, you know, getting into right positions, just stroke the ball around and, you know, playing the way they want to play. And Kaizer Chiefs, they need to put pressure on the man of the ball.
Otto again was a little unclear what he wanted to do, and then went on the charge. Serino bundled off the ball by Makala in much the same way that he bundled Otto off. Referee on both occasions says play on. That's surely a foul. Taylor with the arm out. Serino having a real go here at the ref. His behavior sometimes leads him into some trouble, and he's picked up a yellow rather unnecessarily here, Gaston Serino.
Unnecessarily indeed. Early on into the game, this is a player that you need. We all know at times his behavior very easy as well to be agitated, and you can tell that the referee also knows about him. This is the foul that Taylor made in that midfield, and these are times that you cannot be collecting yellow cards. I'm sure this is an incident that he went to the referee and complained about.
Well, this young referee is only 28, taking no nonsense, no verbals. No, another ball that they can float into their Chiefs penalty area. Otto on the edge of the area. Here's Makala. Fires it over the top. Not a man used to scoring goals. He has got one this season.
Yeah. You can see also with that rare smile knows that it does happen. It falls in there. You always trying to shoot, because once they get it possessed there, you open yourself up, because it was a free kick. All the top players, all the defenders are within that attacking zone.
Van Rooyen, Sabisi and young Mbokazi through to Otto here. Header is away from Quinica. Marked it well. Now a bit of space for Serino. Back inside to Yusuf Mart. Tele. Not too many options ahead for Kaizer Chiefs on that occasion. Now they can try and see if they can make some progress down the left-hand side, particularly with Mordi. Edmilson has possession at the moment. Here's Mordi. Foul by Nkota.
It's interesting because then you see the amount of time that you see Nkota being the one that actually defend Modi, and vice versa as well. It's because then Van Rooyen tucks in, and it forces then Nkota to become a right back. So it'll be very interesting to see then who has more legs.
Well, Serino, the temper is still boiling over. Carlo's not exactly the man I'd pick a fight with, but battle continues between the two of them. That's the kind of feistiness that brings the big crowds here to the derby.
Yeah. And at times, as an attacking player, very skillful, very creative player like Serino, you need to be accepting the fact that sometimes the only way for them to stop you is doing those type of things. So you need to be accepting, as the talented player that you are, you can't be triggered all the time, because then the coach now is on the edge whether to play you longer or to substitute you, and now the team loses rhythm and their creativity on the pitch.
Almost an acknowledgement of how good you are, that they foul you so much. Ask Diego Maradona about that.
Yeah.
Now let's see what Chiefs can do from a set-piece opportunity. Serino to take this. Quinica's forward. Edmilson's in there as well. Ignacio Miguel. They've got a couple of the taller players looking to get onto the end of this. Headed away by Mbokazi. Edmilson. Tele will drift it out to Serino. That's too strong. Tashrik Morris amongst those on the bench. Maclo, Mashiani in there as well. Tetwa. I'm surprised Castillo didn't get a starting berth today.
He's also, if you have to have Castillo, then one between Kele and Mart needs to go out. But what Mart has is a little bit of a playmaking type of characteristic, and then Kele is the one that sits a little more back, covers the more ground, playing more as a defensive midfielder. So you have to choose. It becomes very, very difficult. Of course, unless you're playing Krele and Matlo, that's more creative, we're able to go forward.
Mart, of course, brings 2 derby goals to the equation as well, the confidence that he has from that. Solomons into Mart. High ball in search of either Lilepo or Dube. Nicely done by Nkota, trying to find Mofokeng. Kwinika brings it under control. It's only the 4th game of the season for Kwinika. He didn't even play in the semi-final against Sundowns. He's benefited from all of the injuries that Chiefs have picked up at the back and held on to his place. Taylor, Modi, and again the Mozambican Edmilson. There's space now ahead for Modi. Lilepo's out on the left. First touch was a little on the poor side. Has got the throw in, however.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the game, and with 31 minutes in, it hasn't been him, Duba. They haven't been really involved, and I think Kaizer Chiefs needs to try and play high up the pitch, and they're playing so much in their own middle or in their own half, and then they bring in balls to Peterson for them to clear, so they never really get that momentum to go forward, and those are the players that they need to get into the game if they're actually trying to get the results.
So a goal apiece as we head into the final 50 minutes or so of this first half. Maswanganyi. Now Hotto. Nkota. Short ball here for Mofokeng. Taken away by Mart. He read that well. Solomons. Kwinika. Inacio Miguel under a little bit of pressure from Makgopa. Duba battling with Mbokazi.
Such a strong
He's
boy.
a young man, but he has power. That should be a free kick for Sereno, surely. Bata as part of the winning side last season. Pirates coming from behind against Mamelodi Sundowns. Remember, there was a penalty against Pirates also early on in that game, which Ribeiro took and failed to convert. Fourth official today is Alfred Chavani, playing peacemaker. Always has a nice demeanor about him, Mr. Chavani. Difficult to get upset with him. Space here for Maswanganyi. That's almost nicked away by Duba. The pressure from Chiefs turns it over. And Sereno unable to find the pass. Now Mbata. Long ball down here in search of Makgopa, away from Miguel, throw in to Orlando Pirates. Makala will look to get it out wide. Van Rooyen's got a bit of space ahead of him, I should say. Excellent stuff from the Buccaneers. The shot, near post save. Now, was that on target from Nkota or not?
Looks like it was on target for Nkota, making sure that he cuts into stronger foot. Nice combination play from Orlando Pirates. It forces Modi then to come back and to become a left back, because Kaizer Chiefs, they really want to defend with 3. He has acres of space, and one would have possibly hoped that to maybe try and find the far post, but yet again, Peterson had to go down and make that save.
They face a corner here, Kaizer Chiefs, and once again there'll be questions about their defense. Second one of the game for the Buccaneers. Maswanganyi. Now Van Rooyen goes for goal. Real trouble there for Peterson. 10 minutes to the break. Long ball in search of Serino. Does well. Needs support though. Doesn't find Inepo. Cut out by Duba. Inepo would have been coming back from an offside position.
Yeah, clever play there for Peterson, realizing that Orlando Pirates are not defensively organized. Play that ball a little bit longer. Serino, willing runner. They could have found that a little bit of combination, a little bit of composure there. They could have actually, caused troubles for Pirates.
Pirates actually used to do that a lot in the days when Munib Josephs.
Yep.
With Ruud Krol, he loved that kick it out from the goal kick. You're not offside either.
Yeah, exactly. Used to practice that at training as well, because also Munib had that type of a power as well. You know that when the ball just, as soon as he's about to catch the ball, as wingers, you go as wide as you possibly can.
Now chase for Duba. Can he keep this in play? There's Modi. Come off Sibisi. Makala, of course, a Nedbank Cup winner with Free State Stars. They won in Cape Town against Chipper United back in 2018. That was before COVID times already.
Seems like a long time ago.
Absolutely. It was a long time ago. Yeah. 7 years now since Makala's first medal. Got one again last year. Cup final last year was played on the 1st of June. Lengthy end. Or late end to a lengthy season. Now chance for Inepo. Good clearing header there. Mukazi made a vital interception there.
Good play. Good ball that had been played by Dover. You can see Inepo was just lurking just behind Mbogazi there.
Solomon's giving away the free kick. Dangerous when you do that.
Also, like even if Hotter does clear the ball, KG's players still are behind the ball. You're able to retain position and be able also to try and attack from there. Those are necessary fouls, especially in that type of an area.
Ed Milson gives it away. Maswanganyi teasing Modi under a bit of pressure. The linesman should have given him a bit of assistance there. Now there's a bit of space here for Modi. Can Chiefs use this opportunity? Inepo. Mart. Serino. Mart again. Return ball taken away by Mbata. Switches play. Mafopa's here on the left. That's a great little ball into Mofokeng. Mofokeng teasing. This is Mofokeng territory. Shoved off the ball by Inacio Miguel. Referee pondered for a second or two.
Such a tricky player whenever he gets into his favorite position of his. You don't know when he's going to shoot. And very cleverly there, but Miguel making sure that he stays tall, using his body very, very well. Look at that. Very clever there from Miguel, making sure that he stays as long as possible on his feet, because knowing how trickery Mofokeng can be in that box, but also using that little bit of an arm, shoving Mofokeng off possession a little bit.
The referee was watching all the while. I think he thought about it for a moment or two. It wasn't the most obvious of shoves from Miguel on Mofokeng, made maybe a bit much of it. rush down the middle, but cut out by Mart. Sereno up against Mbata. Still Sereno. Physically not going to win that battle.
Like this duels, this physical duels that we see on individuals and in pairing as well. It shows that how much this game means, especially from a Kaizer Chiefs and perspective.
Tim Sukazi's in the crowd here today. He was his club, of course, beat Chiefs the last time they were in the Nedbank Cup final. Mangobe Mliti, success in this competition with Mamelodi Sundowns. They'll be playing Orlando Pirates again next Tuesday in Johannesburg. Another one of those catch-up league games. Sundowns playing Chipper on Wednesday in East London, having played them this week. Possession statistics interesting. Mbata in the middle here for Pirates. Ran out of patience, I think. Gets the ball back ahead of Duba.
And also, the difference as well with the Orlando Pirates, they're playing more patient football. They want to play organized. Whenever Chiefs lose the ball, they're trying to play the ball forward as quickly as possible. They lose it again. It forces them to be always in the defensive zone.
Now Hotto gets ahead of Solomons into the area. Dion Hotto trying to set up Mahopa. Out wide here to Nkota. He goes to the byline. That's a corner. Good work from Edmilson.
It's a good touch there from Hotto. Very, very dangerous. Once he touches, he gets just in the right scoring position. It becomes very difficult, especially in that the speed that he comes in with. It becomes very difficult to be able to defend.
Was on his right foot though for any possible shot. So.
Yeah.
That's a good challenge. Wilson just gathering his breath a little bit. He's had his injury problems over the years, notably an ACL that kept him out for an entire season when he was still on Cape Town City's books. And it would seem that the stretcher is needed. So we're going to have a little bit of a delay here before this corner, before we head for half-time.
And whenever the players like your Edmilson were strong, right, like physical contact whenever they play, whenever they go down, you seem to worry because you know that those are not type of players that will actually go down if nothing is not serious.
Took his sock off and the strapping and continue his treatment. A little bit of a limp there. Playing mainly at centre back this season. At left back is his usual position, or I should maybe say his previous position, because as age catches up with you, he's done well to shift into the centre back role.
Yeah.
Benny McCarthy called him what, the Sergio Ramos?
Sergio Ramos. Because how strong he is aerially, he likes challenging those balls.
Only the sportsman is the supports. All the premiers in the house as well here today. Nkota, who had the last touch, another corner. Hart says it wasn't me. Pirates increasing the corner count here as we head towards half-time. 30 seconds before we know how much time is added on. Oh. Again, Mahopa, a little bit low, and well, away from the goal, but so menacing from those set pieces.
I can see that there's a lot of work that have been put in by Orlando Pirates in terms of those set pieces. There's a lot of understanding. They know exactly what is it they want to do. There's a lot of also variation as to then how then they took those set pieces.
Manto Holomisa's in the crowd. He's a well-known Kaizer Chiefs fan. Don't forget any betting you want to do. Supersport Bet's the place to go. Big leak from him, but he has the ball. Serino out wide. Now Mordi. Cross inside. Header on target. Enough power really to trouble Sipho Chain from Dylan Solomons.
Yeah, not enough power from Solomon, but you can also tell the student how aggressive he becomes going forward, adding those numbers, because you do have Dover, you do have Miguel and Quinica at the back, just to give that that stability at the back, so it forces then, Solomon to become an additional member. That's why he gets inside the box.
We're really into the second of the 2 minutes added on. Referee Bambiso. Van Rooyen. Quarter is surely now the last attack of this half. Van Rooyen leading the charge. On the right, cover from Yusuf Maat. Otto through the middle here, chases on for Matsanganyi, needs a good first touch. Mofokeng, Makopa turns, Solomon steals it away. Chiefs can hardly hold on to possession, and it'll come as some relief that the half-time whistle has gone here at Soccer City. Your thoughts on the first half, Teko?
I think the first half has been equally balanced. Not enough creativity has been shown, and goalkeepers as well, they haven't been worked, but there's a lot of work that happened in that midfield. Kaizer Chiefs unable to control the tempo and unable to control the ball. Orlando Pirates trying to get their rhythm. It'll be very interesting to second half to see then who reacts better.
The most successful team in the history of this competition. Pirates the second most successful side. Chiefs have won 13 of these trophies. Pirates been involved in more finals, but less successful outcomes. They are, however, the only side to have won this Nedbank Cup 3 times in a row previously, back in the 70s. Oh, Ignacio Miguel pulling back on Nkota. Is going to get a yellow.
Maybe because he wasn't the last man in that defense. You can see that Nkota was gone with his speed, with his pace. It's always going to be a problem. It's always the challenge that I was looking forward to. But you can see here Miguel there realizing that I need to take one for the team because Nkota was gone.
The way in which he took it for the team. Look at that. That's coming from the ground across the road here where they played rugby last night.
Nice, yeah.
Now he's taken the yellow card, but the temptation for the ref must be the way the foul was committed is really dangerous. The irony is if he did that in a rugby game, he'd be off for 10 minutes.
Really?
Absolutely. Those kind of tackles these days around the neck are absolutely banned in the rougher sports. And he gets away with one here. Nkota was away. He had, I suppose, no option. Ignacio Miguel. Now, Serino stubbed his toe in the ground there. Got stuck a little bit. Possession turned over. Makaula. Otto this season has probably spent more time at left back than left wing back. Makopa. Oh, a little pass into Mofokeng, just runs a little too far ahead.
I mean, you look at the amount of games that Makopa has played. He complements so many players whenever he's in and around the place. Like it makes those runs that normally strikers don't want to make, outside the box. But whenever he has the ball, he still has the pass. He has those flicks as well. So you need the type of a striker and gives so much freedom as well to your Nkota, to your Mofokeng as well, to occupy that space whenever he leaves it.
It's always a little bit of a debate when you're sitting down and trying to guess what the Pirates team would be. Is it going to be Makgopa or is it going to be Mabasa? But in all the big games this season, it's been Makgopa over Mabasa. The work rate is also hugely in his favor.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Header from Edmilson. Cut out by Makaula. Cleverly done there by Modi. Gets the throw in here for Kaizer Chiefs.
But also what helps with Makgopa as well, when he came to Orlando Pirates with that work rate, it wasn't appreciated because they needed him to score goals. Over the seasons, over the years, they're realizing as well that he triggers the pressure with a little bit of those nippy touches as well, players around him as well, complimenting him. It's one of those players that has been appreciated in a lot of Pirates colours.
Their first season after arriving from Baroque, didn't see much in the way of action. Now Serino. A bit more playmaking from Gaston Serino to Kaizer Chiefs. Dylan Solomons. Mart. Now looking for the cross. Doesn't come from Solomons. Neatly done by the big frame of Mbata. Amazing to think that SuperSport United let this young man go, Mbata. Didn't have a place for him. Pirates seized up the opportunity to take him. Dangerous challenge from Matswanganyi, but referee doesn't agree. Now clearance from Chain. Nice takedown by Pele. Matt finds Serino. Here's Solomons. This is promising from Chiefs. Inepo out wide. Serino now bangs it into the middle. Makaula and Bokazi clear. Only as far as Edmilson. Pushing a little further forward are Kaizer Chiefs. Mordi shows too much. Van Rooyen's under a bit of pressure here. Foul by Duba. Already 5 minutes gone now in the second half. Hazardin Navi and his assistant Cedric Kezi. Up to Hotto. There's Van Rooyen now. Little chip. Oh, and there's definitely no calling in that Kaizer Chiefs defense. Or if there was, Dylan Solomons didn't hear anything.
Yeah, he's playing safety first, but also it proves as well the difficulties that they have in that back line defensively. Sometimes you'd swear that they're a little bit scared, and that actually forces this type of mistakes to happen as well. But they need to keep going. At some point, they need to get into the game. They need to have a little bit of some sort of confidence as well, because Orlando Pirates, they can pick that up, but there is lack of confidence. Those moves, Mofokeng hasn't been much into the game. Nkota there and there, so they need to make sure that those are the people that actually they keep them quiet.
Fifth corner of the game for Orlando Pirates. Mofokeng to take it. Floats it towards Peterson. He gets a good punch away. Header in from Matswanganyi. Excuse me, from Mbata. Well wide of goal. Now Mordi to Duba. He's having a nice little battle here today with Van Rooyen. He gets the throw in. What changes are these two coaches thinking about, if any are needed? Remember, extra time is an option here, so that'll be a part of their thinking as well.
I think from a Kaizer Chiefs point of view, I think this man, he's whenever he plays out wide, he seems more dangerous. That is Lilepo. He seems more dangerous because then he cuts in, he plays lopsided, but also the work rate as well from Modi makes it difficult for Lilepo to come in here because Van Rooyen will be aiding up front. So you have to maybe change a little bit of positions as well, because being as a striker is not being fed balls, and he's the player that wants to take on players, so it becomes very, very difficult for him to actually be functional in the system.
Hart wins the header. Mbata finds Van Rooyen out here on the right-hand side. Still Van Rooyen switches to Dion Hotto, who's got a space opening up ahead of him. Left-footed cross, header away from Edmilson. Duba. Sabisi's on his tail. Free kick given to Andile Duba.
Good hold-up play there from Duba. Needs to find a little bit quicker support there from Kaizer Chiefs players. They need to be close by to be able to play it off so that you can switch play and engage Solomon, who's forever free on the right-hand side.
Chiefs, by the way, top scorers in the Nedbank Cup this season. 12 goals, with 4 today. Ball in from Solomons, looking for Serino. Header from Taylor. Sabisi to Ignacio Miguel. Between Mofokeng and Maswanganyi, so here come Chiefs. Turned over by Duba. Van Rooyen back to Maswanganyi. He's gotten quarter to his right. Good work from Lilepo. Linesman had the flag up for a challenge on Maswanganyi by Lilepo. That one.
Just a little bit of a shove. You can see also that Maswanganyi was crossing, was going across the pitch. He didn't have enough support. And maybe with Lilepo guiding a little bit, he could have won the second ball and be able to initiate. But it just shows you as well that as a striker, look at how far he is that is defending. Because Kaizer Chiefs defenders are so scared to push a little bit higher up the pitch to allow their front three or their front four to play in Orlando Pirates half.
Now that left foot of Hotto again to try and provide. Will it be Mofokeng? There it comes from Otto. Out comes Peterson. That's a good crossfield ball here. Mordi up against Hotto, gets the ball into the danger zone. Mordi again. Made his name here in KwaZulu-Natal, of course, with golden arrows. Quinica, well read there by Van Rooyen, but they have it back to Kaizer Chiefs with Thabo Mqele. Into Duba, looking for the return ball, finds Duba, this is promising. Oh, Duba, a pass across to Lilepo, and Chiefs would have been in.
Exactly. Played beautiful football there. Taylor being the center of it, making sure that they find those type of rhythms. Clever little 1-2. Duba there, possibly may see in the headlines. I think Lilepo was the most free player in that area. Good defense there from
excellent work from Kaizer.
Yep.
That'll lift Chiefs' confidence a little bit, you've got to think. Taken away here. Charging forward in Bukazi. Referee says play on. Here's Nkota into the penalty area. Teasing Edmilson onto that left foot. Just wide. Did Peterson get a touch? Referee says no. Goal kick.
Yeah, I think with Nkota, he needs to trust his curler. He needs to work on it, because once you get into that area there, you have to try and force the goalkeeper to make a save on the furthest post. And we've seen him the second time around and trying to sneak it into the first post where Peterson was covered. Here's that interception as well from Mbogasi. Rivers has played on good play as well from Makgopa. Look at Nkota here. Once you come into those type of areas, look at where Peterson was, very close to this first post. You need to try and find the furthest corner.
And we've seen him fire off a few crackers this season, particularly in the African competitions. Yeah, it wasn't a touch from Peterson. This will confirm it. Just wide. There's Dylan Shepherd, who has brought a trophy to Chiefs this season, the multi-choice or Diski Challenge. ESTD Diski Challenge, to give it its proper name. And Wandile Duba, of course, has come through the ranks, through the DDC ranks, and there are a few on the Pirate side as well. Excellent competition, creating tomorrow's stars. That's a lovely retro jersey, look at that. Old Pirates one. Tumalen Kune in the house today. He won a few cups in his time, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. One of the best that we've seen.
90 odd caps will attest to that. Now Serino looking for Lilepo. Sibisi clears. A little touch in there from Hotto as well to deny Solomons, who really has been pushing up a lot now. It's a bit slippery at times, this pitch for these players.
And it's also one of those pitches as well that is always heavy underfoot. Whenever it's a little bit moist, it's always heavy. The pitch, you know, the grass always comes off. Makes it difficult as well to be able to play normal football that you're trying to play. So in areas where you need to play safe, I think both teams should be.
Well, we're going to be seeing some changes shortly. Makgopa will be coming off. Should be maybe an interesting move from Jose Rivera. It might be a little bit early. He has done a lot of work, and it's a long season. And Sefofaso Mabasa will be the obvious replacement. Some more muscle in that Pirates attack to continue harassing the Chiefs' defense. Clearly under pressure here from Mbata as well to get it out wide. Serino, Solomons again up front with a shove in the back on Hotto. Another one of those retro tops from a bygone era. So this is the first change. We could have as many as 12. Remember, if we go into extra time, teams are allowed to have a sixth substitution. But Mabasa on for Makgopa is the first substitution of the game, and the goal scorer goes off. Well-earned rest for him, and on comes Mabasa.
And Mabasa, what he brings is that target man playing just in around the box. Maybe then it allows then Orlando Pirates rather to come in with those combination play. Nkota maybe get involved, Mfuke also get involved, because then you have a player that just will give you some sort of reference.
Last year's cup final, Mabasa came on from Makgopa in the 60th minute, so it's almost the same playbook from Coach Riviero.
You think he believes in superstitions as well? Maybe might be the reason.
Top goal scorers in this competition. Mabasa along with Modi. Chiefs are looking to make a change now as well. We can tell you Tetwa to replace Tele in the middle. But more of a bite needed there, and I think that is the right man to do it in Tetwa.
Yeah, he is the right man to do it in that midfield, but you can see maybe from Taylor as well, maybe the legs are gone.
I'm not too sure the crowd like it. He is a local boy, Tele, from Kwamashu. Sibongiseni Mtetwa on. Yet to win a trophy in his career. Started at Black Leopards, made his name at Stellenbosch. Second season here at Chiefs. Look at the chase here from Hotto. Did I make it, Linesman, or not? 34 years old is Hotto, still steaming down there. So, Tele's first cup final in South Africa comes to a close. Let's see what difference Mtetwa makes in the middle. Chain now, clears away. Masa already making his presence felt. Good challenge by Mtetwa, first up against Maswanganyi. Illegal one, says the referee. Chiefs feeling that Edmilson had been fouled a little bit earlier by Mabasa. Elbow is what Edmilson is suggesting.
Maybe from the right hand, that because normally strikers are trying to always, make themselves a little bigger to try and protect the ball.
Now, what other changes might there be in the offing for Kaizer Chiefs? They got players warming up behind Sipho Chain's goal. Matlo with Castillo, Ngobo's there as well, Happy Mashiani, and of course number 42, Shabalala.
Yeah.
Is he going to play some part?
I think he should. I think that's a possible change because you need some sort of playmaking. I think that's where they're struggling because you do have players that can actually come in or players that are actually on the pitch to make a difference. And I think with Ngobo or Shabalala or Matlo, those are creative players that can come in and create some sort of goal-scoring opportunities, because you can't be defending without creating opportunities. You're just inviting pressure.
The other one that we didn't mention there, Dupria and his pace.
Yeah. But for Dupria to be able to be troublesome to Orlando Pirates' pace, they need to be on the ball, and that's what Kaizer Chiefs has been struggling, because Duba has the pace, Lepo has the pace, but they haven't been functional for the system.
Away from Edmilson, Tetwa forward, just Dube in the Pirates' half. Makara's got plenty of time to bring that under control, back up into the Chiefs' half. Good strength from Mabasa. Mofokeng, quiet cup final from him. He only came on for the final 20 minutes against Sundowns last year. What a difference he made then. Maybe he'll come to the party here in the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's been very, very difficult for him. He's not been allowed enough space and time on the ball. And he seems to drift in so much as well inside, where there's so congested, so many players in that midfield, so he hardly finds his rhythm there, and I think it's always very, very good whenever he starts out wide when he comes in with those combination play.
Brandon Peterson in goal, as you mentioned, a bit of a surprise. Bruce Vuma had played 23 successive games for Kaizer Chiefs, but dropped for the final today. Tactical reasons, we were told before kickoff. In fact, Vuma didn't even make the bench. Tuari's backup. This is the fifth time Moses Mabhida has hosted the Nedbank Cup. Chiefs won here against Supersport in 2013. Bernard Parker, you remember, settled that one. And the last final was here in 2019. Chiefs lost to Galaxy with Lepasa. Torino felt maybe Sabisi touched that on the way through for a corner.
And also maybe he feels a little bit of disappointed because then you're expecting people to actually try and attack the ball. And you can see maybe those type of free kicks as well that Kaizer are having, they're off the cuff. I don't think there's enough planning. You can see with when Orlando Pirates have a set piece, you can see there's a lot of organization, there's a lot of understanding as to then what is it that they're doing.
And the linesman's flags up, which it's getting really feisty now. Well, Duba does have a bit of a hot temper on him, and linesman Mokwena's done well there to keep him away from more trouble. To lose Makaula. Caught him on the Achilles there at the back. The roar you hear while you're watching the slow-mo is for Shabalala looking to warm up, and maybe Dupree as well to join him. Duba goes into the book. His reaction afterwards when the handbags started flying. Third Chiefs man to be cautioned in this game. Makaula looks to be okay, back on the field. There he is, Nduduzi Shabalala. This is the kind of stage that his talent could well thrive on.
Exactly, we've seen Mofokeng at this stage as well last year against Mamelodi Sundowns, coming on and changing the game and winning the game for Orlando Pirates. Maybe this might be the opportunity for Shabalala as well, but he needs to get more on the ball. He needs to give some sort of confidence within the team whenever he's on the ball. He needs to also give some sort of assurity not to lose the ball very easily, because you can see with Kaizer Chiefs, they're still struggling to hold on to the ball.
A lot of similarities with the semi-final against Sundowns, and the way they weren't really in that match either. And then up pops Dupree, and they have a late winner and book themselves a place in the final. Shabalala to come on. We'll also hear Ashley Dupree will be joining him. Ed Nelson. Tackling away with Mabasa now. Is Jose Rivera going to make some changes too? Yes, is the answer. We can see from here that Karim Kimbudi standing by to come on, and his usual go-to man, Kabelo Dlamini.
You need that lot of creativity, those passing accuracy that Dlamini gives you.
Ball inside here from Ukota. Another corner.
Played a little bit early there. Songayi making a good run. Good block there by Miguel.
The big men are forward here. This is when Pirates will fancy their chances. The set piece, back post, still bobbing around. Successful effort there from Mbata. So it's going to be double change on both sides with Shabalala and Dupree for Chiefs, Dlamini and Kimbudi for Pirates. Kimbudi had a decent decent game here on Tuesday. Just put himself back into the shop window at Pirates with his game against Golden Arrows. Too strong there for Modi. Right, so Sereno is the first one to go off. Shabalala to take his place. Ashley Dupria will be coming on for Duba. Two interesting changes there, Teko.
There are interesting changes as well, but also the changing positions as well. Lilepo will definitely go to the right-hand side, where I feel like on the wings, he is a little bit much stronger. And then Shabalala will play at a 10, where Sereno was operating, and with Dupria, of course, with his speed. Maybe with Duba as well, a player that hasn't been playing much. Maybe the legs have gone a little bit. Maybe you need a little bit of refreshment, and we know that Dupria, exactly what he does bring to that line.
Now, let's see what you think of Dlamini for Makaula, and interestingly, Kimvudi for Kota.
It's very, very interesting from a lot of players' point of view, especially from Kimvudi, who normally, when Masongani is there, because Masongani will be your playmaker, you're expecting Kimvudi possibly now, if there is a substitution, that will be the one that may. But as a right winger, he needs to be able to come back and defend and help the team defend. And as for Dlamini, we know that with Dlamini, the passes that he brings, the creativity that he brings as well, it just helps the team play a little bit more forward, and helps the younger ones to actually get onto the ball.
Makala got that little knock in that clash with Duba. It's his 41st game of the season. Understandable that maybe his legs going at this stage of the game. Now Solomons into the danger zone. Good challenge again from Bokazi. Hotto forward. Maswanganyi. Van Rooyen finds Kimbudi. Taking on Modi here is Karim Kimbudi. Holds his feet. Left-footed ball inside. A little bit too short there for Mofokeng on the left-hand side. Now Lilepo. Lilepo looked as if he was going to be taken off. He thought that too. He was making his way.
Yeah, I saw in his face that he thought he was taken off.
Yeah, with the two subs were coming on.
Yeah.
Now here's Dupria. Dragging it back. Shabalala, the two substitutes. Can they conjure something up here? Ball inside. Did well to get it across Shabalala. Yeah. Bokazi with a interception.
I mean, Bokazi has been exceptional in that Solana Pies defense, but Shabalala bringing that little bit of confidence. The two substitution combining as well. You can see Shabalala trying to delay, trying to find a little bit of acre of space as well. And he nearly found the Dupree inside the box.
Crowd are beginning to find their voice now as we head into the final 15 minutes of the Nedbank Cup final. Ashley Dupria with a set piece. This is the first corner of the game for Kaizer Chiefs. Now, Dupria. Chiefs looking to go ahead again. Good strong clearing header from Dlamini. Another chance for Dupria to get it into the box. It's a low effort. Again, Dlamini clears, and they set up a potential counter. Dlamini once more. Ignacio Miguel. Here's Shabalala. Into the area. Shabalala just slipped at the vital moment. Referee almost got in the way. Good evasive action from him. Last touch off Mofokeng. Chiefs have a little bit of a purple patch at the moment.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need some players that will come in and inspire a little, some sort of hope. And Dupria is exactly what he's doing. Shabalala, when he's ever on the ball, looks like something can happen. And hopefully with that, maybe it might also, bring some sort of confidence within other players as well.
Shabalala, he certainly livened things up. He has a chance for Modi. Oh! Was that a fine save from Chain? or did he put it wide?
I think it hit the upright. I think Chain didn't see, didn't make a save, but good control from Modi. Shabalala again being instrumental, using his lace, losing his power.
Wow, how close was that?
Yeah, very, very close. And he can actually count as to the amount of times that Kaizer Chiefs found themselves in those type of positions. With Shabalala now being on the pitch, inspiring some sort of confidence within them, they get into those areas where they can actually create and score goals.
Well, he's made a real difference, Shabalala, since coming on. Can he be the momentum that takes Chiefs to the promised land and gives them some sustenance after almost 10 seasons of drought? He has another fine ball in. No real problems for Sipho Chain. Hands are looking a little happier.
That's the belief that you need. You need the fans to be backing your team, and that energy will transfer nicely to the players and have that belief that they can actually, pull off a surprise this from a Kaizer Chiefs point of view.
That reference to 2019 when he was here, that supporter was when they lost the Galaxy, that huge shock in the Nedbank Cup final. The only team from a lower division to win a major cup competition, TS Galaxy, when they stunned Chiefs here with a late penalty. Tetwa gets in the way as Mbokazi clears, and now a chance for Shabalala. Shabalala taking too much time potentially. Dupria. Ball back in again. Shot! Oh, what a goal from Yusuf Mart! Yusuf Mart, who has now scored 3 in the derby. That was hit on the half volley, superbly finished. It looked like a left footer as well.
It was a left foot indeed. When the ball looked like it was dead, with Shabalala, the ball was in between his leg inside the box, unable to find his feet. The ball went wide. Dupree as well, bringing in that cross, it finds Yusuf Mart high up the pitch inside the box with a left volley.
What a goal! Celebrations for Kaizer Chiefs. And Yusuf Mart has scored that extraordinary derby goal at Soccer City from inside his own half. This might not be as stylish as that one, but I tell you what, it's a lot more important.
Exactly. Look at here, you can see undecisiveness, but also what helps as well, Dupree putting himself, staying onside, bringing the ball in. There's a man there, the half volley.
Oh, what a strike from Mart. Oh. And just for a split second, it almost looked as if he was going to leave it for Shabalala.
Shabalala, yes, because he was going to Shabalala's right foot as well. Those are just instinctive shots there from this man who just scored maybe one of the most important goal for Kaizer Chiefs in years.
There are a few in that VIP area might have done a hamstring or two with those celebrations. Chiefs looking for number 3 now. Looking to seal this up. It's all Pirates who have to work now. They are behind with less than 10 minutes left in the Nedbank Cup final. Is the drought coming to an end? Tetwa, dispossessed, but fights his way back, clears it high into the night sky.
It's going to require a lot from Kaizer Chiefs to be able to defend this lead that they have. We saw in the first half, immediately after scoring a goal, they end up conceding, so it needs a high concentration from them.
Ball inside to Mofokeng. Mofokeng stopped by Mart, who clears away. The other interesting thing, Teko, is Orlando Pirates, have they got something left in the tank? It's been such a long season.
It has been indeed. It has been such a long season. Maybe, just maybe Coach Rivero might start maybe to looking onto the bench as well, maybe trying to refreshen things, to try and spark some sort of maybe energy going forward.
He's never lost a game. Is this going to be the evening where that all changes? Mbokazi. Sibisi, Kimbudi. Chiefs very quickly getting everybody back behind the ball now. It's going to require some stout defending. But it's Pirates who've got to show some initiative, and for the moment they're battling. And Kimbudi's given away possession, and Modi will take on Sibisi here. Cut inside, get past Mbata too, and get the free kick.
Good play there from Modi. You can see they're trying to open up a little bit, waiting for Dupree as well to make that second run. Lilepo was free on the other side, but that's what you need from a winger. You know, take on the players, initiate, get into those areas. You can see that Mbata there forcing that foul.
Mbata is the first Pirates man to go into the book in today's match, of course. Well, it's going to be a long wait now for the Mutaung family. They're all in the house here today. 6.5 minutes or so, plus whatever stoppage time. Pirates are going to make a change. Kaizer Chiefs look as if they want to make a change as well. Maybe the moment game continues. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe Kaizer Chiefs also. Maybe you might try to find maybe Castillo to bring in some little bit of steel in that midfield as well, just to make sure that defensively, you know, you do have the legs, you do have the mentality to be able to defend this lead.
The Pirates change is going to be Bandili Shandu. He's hardly seen the ball since coming on. Kimbudi. Still Kimbudi. Left and right onto the edge of the area. Ball dragged back by Hotto. Cleared away by Mtekwa. We're going to see a lot more of this, I fancy, over the next 5 minutes or so. Kimbudi, fellow Congolese Lilepo up against him. 10-year trophy drought. Is it coming to an end? Bandili Shandu to come on. Dino van Rooyen to go off. Ignacio Miguel's been booked already, and the referee saying to him, any more from you, you'll go off. This is like for like on the right-hand side. Shandu's another who's had a bad year with injury, but has come back for the closing stages of the season. Header from Sibisi. Aslanganyi. Mbata. Still Mbata. Caught by Modi. That's going to be a yellow card for Pule Modi. He's tiring now. So Jose Riveiro's storied cup career in South African football, is that coming to a disappointing close here? Kaizer Chiefs have got Castillo and George Matlo standing by to come on. Their final two changes. Shots. So Ganye trying to get through there, but Kaizer Chiefs are just blocking as much as they can. There he comes again. Referee says free kick on the edge of the area. How close was that?
So close. And I think it was Mart who was battling there with Masongani.
Contact just outside the area.
Yeah.
Another half a meter or so and a whole different story. under 3 minutes remain. Kaizer Chiefs are making 2 changes here. This winds down the clock a little bit, but also adds some muscle in there. Lilepo to go off and Mart to go off. Castillo for Mart, Matlo for Lilepo. So another Nedbank Cup final potentially settled in the closing stages. What a goal from Yusuf Mart. Oh, what a job he's done today, Mart in particular. Is he going to lift that trophy come the end of the 90, or are we going to go in extra time here? Brandon Peterson is helping to wind down the clock as well. It's all part of the game management, they call it these days. What a wonderful sight here. Moses Mabhida packed to the rafters for the Nedbank Cup final. Not been the greatest of footballing spectacles, but it's not often we get a thriller in the cup final in terms of classical football, but in terms of drama, we haven't been disappointed today.
Yeah, we haven't been disappointed today, indeed. I'm sure also with such finals, you're expecting to be more tight, more technical as well. We might not see the flow that you're expecting because it is the game where the stakes are so high.
Approaching winter, of course, here in Durban. It's still hot and humid. Not that they ever have winter in this part of the world. Otto goes for goal! Punched away by Peterson. Now, has he hurt himself? Oh, this coach might well be saving his job here. Shabalala kicks that away into the crowd. Peterson gets another congratulations from Inacio Miguel. I think he can bear to watch this, Nazruddin Nabi. A winner, by the way, of the Moroccan Cup this time last year with Royal Armed Forces. He won the Tanzanian Cup and the Cup in the Republic of Congo with AC Leopards, who Pirates used to take on quite often in the old, about a decade ago in the Champions League. That's a good save from Peterson.
Yeah, it was indeed. It was on target there from Dion Hotto. Maybe seeing that Peterson was possibly maybe trying to fix the wall. And looking at that space as well, because you could see even in that replay as well, there was a little bit of a run that Mufokeng did from the far post. I thought maybe that's the ball they're going to play to him, because you could see the variation that Pirates has been providing us in this game.
5 minutes to be added on. We're into stoppage time. Dlamini to take the corner. 5 minutes for Pirates to find the equalizer. 5 minutes for Chiefs to hold out. Little flick across the face of goal. No one got a touch to it. Excellently done by Mabasa, and no teammate there to profit from it.
Maybe in that incident, you're expecting one of the Orlando Pirates players, maybe in the back post, you can see that touch.
Excellently done.
It was excellently done.
Can't bear to watch Kaizer Jr. Miserable season will be completely erased by cup success. In fact, decades or a decade of disappointments and several miserable seasons will be erased if they can hold on here. Pirates not to be written off. They scored in stoppage time in the last Nedbank Cup final. As Kimbudi gets the free kick. It's going to be very stop-starty as well here in the closing stages.
It will be in for Kaizer Chiefs. They need to be able to manage those set pieces, be able to defend, because at some point they need to get hold of the ball. They need to play high up the pitch, to alleviate the pressure that Orlando Pirates are putting on them.
We've already had 2 minutes of the 5. Otto, another high ball, little flick on there off the head of Savisi, and Peterson, every save he makes now is celebrated as if it was a goal. Rum faces amongst the Bucks supporters. It's not over, lady. Another 2.5 minutes to go. It's a hard, it's a tough ask. But there is still hope with time left on the clock. Here's Hotto. Mbata. Mbata loses out to Shabalala, and Tetwa too strong. That ball for George Matlo. They've got 5 at the back now with Inacio Miguel, Quinica and Edmilson as centre-backs. Foul by Castillo. He goes into the book having just come on. Another one taking one for the team.
It's all about those set-piece management inside the box. You can see Hotto's been delivering good balls, very dangerous balls inside the box. So Miguel, Edmilson, they need to be able to defend. You can see there with Kimbuidi seeing the space, just driving in. Castillo being late, just taking one for the team.
Now the players that Pirates really need to step up in these closing stages, the Maswanganyis and the Mofokengs, still really haven't had peak performances in today's encounter. Looking maybe for something from the set piece from this man Hotto, from Mabasa up front. Under a minute remaining now. Time is running out for the Buccaneers. Kaizer Chiefs inching ever closer to silverware. Another yellow card for George Matlo. The two men who've just come on as changes, Matlo and Castillo, contributed with the yellow card apiece. Dion Hotto to take this. Surely the last opportunity of the game for Orlando Pirates. Hotto goes for goal, straight down the throat of Brandon Peterson. Fans will look at the clock and realize it's just a matter of seconds now. Maybe a little more time added on by Mr. Bambiso. High into the night sky. Referee says it's over. Kaizer Chiefs have won the Nedbank Cup. 10 years without the trophy comes to an end here for Orlando Pirates. Great nemesis Kaizer Chiefs. They have finally won a trophy for the first time since lifting the league in 2015. And for the Buccaneers, no three-peat in the Nedbank Cup.
Yeah, unfortunately for Orlando Pirates, no three-peat for the Nedbank Cup, where Coach Rivera will be a very, very nice send-off for them. But with Kaizer Chiefs as well, a little bit of nerves in the game. You can see, you know, it's a team as well that have been scared to lose, and at times they find themselves defending so deep, inviting Orlando Pirates as well into those areas. But Orlando Pirates players as well, they were expected to come into the game and help and carry the momentum of the team. They were unable to do so, and this man right here can see as well with those changes that he made, especially with Dupree and Shabalala, that actually changed the game. They were looking a player that would come into the game and maybe spark some sort of, you know, creativity, and that's what Shabalala did.
Well, Nazruddin Nabi has been questioned throughout the season as to whether he is the right man for Kaizer Chiefs. I think right now